Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel where we dive deep into some of the most fascinating figures from history and scripture. Today, we're shining a spotlight on a real titan, a man whose story is a masterclass in faith, courage, and perseverance. We're talking about Caleb from the book of Joshua. His name might not be as instantly recognizable as Moses or David, but trust me, his journey is absolutely epic and packed with lessons we can all learn from. So, who exactly was Caleb? Why is he so important? And what makes his story resonate even thousands of years later? Let's get into it. To really understand Caleb, we have to rewind a bit, back to the book of Numbers. The Israelites have been freed from slavery in Egypt and are on the brink of entering the Promised Land. Moses decides to send 12 spies, one from each tribe, to scout out the land of Canaan. Their mission: to report back on the land, its people, and its fortifications. Caleb, representing the tribe of Judah, was one of these 12 men. So, the 12 spies go into Canaan, and what they find is incredible. The land is everything God promised, flowing with milk and honey, with lush valleys and enormous clusters of grapes. But there's a catch. The cities are heavily fortified, and the inhabitants are described as powerful and gigantic, even called descendants of Anak, who were legendary for their size. When the spies return after 40 days, the reports are drastically different. 10 of the spies are terrified. They paint a picture of doom and gloom. They say, "We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are." They describe themselves as feeling like grasshoppers next to these giants. Their report spreads fear and despair throughout the entire camp of Israel. The people start weeping, complaining against Moses and Aaron, and even talking about choosing a new leader to take them back to Egypt. It's a full-blown crisis of faith. But then, two voices rise above the noise of negativity. Caleb, along with Joshua, steps forward and offers a completely different perspective. Caleb silences the people and says, with unwavering confidence, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." Think about the courage that took 10 of his peers, the leaders of their tribes, are saying it's impossible, and the entire nation is in a panic. Yet, Caleb stands firm. He doesn't deny the challenges. He saw the same giants and the same fortified cities as the other spies, but he saw them through the lens of faith in God's promise. He believed that if God was with them, the giants didn't stand a chance. This moment is the defining point of Caleb's character. While others saw obstacles, Caleb saw opportunity. While others focused on their own limitations, Caleb focused on God's unlimited power. He and Joshua tear their clothes in distress over the people's lack of faith and plead with them, saying, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." Unfortunately, the people didn't listen. Their fear won out, and as a consequence, God declared that the entire generation that doubted him would not enter the promised land. They were sentenced to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. 1 year for each day the spies were in Canaan, until that generation passed away. But God made a special exception for 2 men, Caleb and Joshua. Because Caleb had a different spirit and followed God wholeheartedly, God promised that he would enter the land and that his descendants would inherit it. So, fast forward 45 years. That's a long time. 45 years of wandering in the desert, watching an entire generation fade away because of their disbelief. Caleb, who was 40 years old when he spied out the land, is now 80. The Israelites, under the new leadership of Joshua, have finally crossed the Jordan River and begun the conquest of Canaan. They've had major victories at Jericho and Ai, and now they are in the process of dividing the land among the tribes. This is where Caleb's story picks back up in the book of Joshua. chapter 14. And it is absolutely inspiring. Caleb approaches Joshua, his old friend and companion in faith. He doesn't come asking for a quiet retirement spot in some peaceful valley. No, Caleb's spirit is just as fiery as it was 45 years earlier. He reminds Joshua of the promise God made all those years ago. He says, "I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then." At 85 years old, most people at that age would be looking to slow down, but Caleb is ready for his next challenge. And what does he ask for? He asks for the toughest territory, the very place that scared the other spies to death. He requests the hill country of Hebron, the mountainous region where the giant Anakim still lived. He says, "Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me on that day. For you yourself heard then that the Anakites were there and their cities were large and fortified. But, the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said." This is just incredible. Caleb didn't want an easy inheritance. He wanted the inheritance God had promised him, and he was willing to fight for it. Even in his old age, he saw the giants not as a threat, but as the final obstacle to claiming his rightful reward. His faith hadn't wavered one bit over 4.5 decades. He still believed that, with God on his side, victory was certain. Joshua blesses Caleb and gives him Hebron as his inheritance. And what does Caleb do? He goes and conquers it. The Bible tells us that he drove out the 3 sons of Anak from Hebron. He fulfilled the mission, proving that his faith was not just talk. Hebron then becomes a central city for the tribe of Judah, and later the first capital city for King David. Caleb's story doesn't even end there. He then offers his daughter Aksa in marriage to whoever can conquer the nearby city of Debir. His nephew, Othniel, rises to the challenge, captures the city, and marries Ak. This shows Caleb passing on his legacy of courage and faith to the next generation. Othniel would later become the very first judge of Israel, delivering them from oppression. So Caleb's influence extends far beyond his own lifetime. So, what can we take away from the life of Caleb? First, the power of a different spirit. Caleb stood against the crowd. He refused to be swayed by fear and negativity. He chose to see things from God's perspective. In our own lives, it's easy to get caught up in what everyone else is saying or thinking. Caleb's story challenges us to have the courage to stand for what we believe is right, even if we're standing alone. Second, the importance of wholehearted devotion. The Bible repeatedly says Caleb followed the Lord wholeheartedly. It wasn't a part-time faith or convenient faith. It was an all-in, unwavering commitment. This wholeheartedness is what sustained him through 45 long years in the wilderness and gave him the strength to fight for his inheritance. At age 8, it reminds us that consistency and perseverance in our own journeys are key. Third, age is just a number when you have a purpose. At 85, Caleb was still claiming mountains. He didn't let his age become an excuse or limitation. His spirit was young and full of vigor because he was driven by God's promise. It is a powerful reminder that it is never too late to pursue the dreams and callings we have. As long as we have breath, we can make an impact. Caleb's story is a powerful testament to a life lived by faith. He's a true hero who saw giants and said, "My God is bigger." He waited patiently for a promise to be fulfilled and then had the strength to claim it. His legacy isn't just about the land he conquered, but about the spirit with which he lived his entire life. He is the ultimate example of finishing strong. So the next time you feel like you're refacing giants in your own life, whether it is a difficult challenge, a sea of negativity, or the feeling that you're too old or too tired to keep going, remember Caleb. Remember his different spirit, his wholehearted faith, and his mountain-conquering strength at 80. His story is a timeless inspiration for anyone who wants to live a life of courage and purpose. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope Caleb's story has inspired you as much as it inspires me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and do you and forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do you and miss our next deep dive. Drop a comment below and let me know what part of Caleb's story stands out to you the most. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.